This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
We test out a roof sprinkler system. We have 2 sprinkler heads, just like the ones you'd have on your lawn, mounted different ways. That's a store-bought one. It's one we made. You got a 1-inch fire hose coming down to a spigot, and then have a regular garden hose coming down to a spigot. We're going to turn them on and see if the coverage is enough to get the roof wet. The idea is that if this field ever caught fire, the embers would travel through, and they'd have a way for maybe catching one of our trees on. But if we can get the roof wet enough, it creates a layer between the ignition source, the ember, and the fuel, the shingles, and if that barrier stays there, you're okay. So if I had enough leeway time, I need about probably 10 minutes, I can get these in position, and then with another 10 or 15 minutes I can get the roof wet enough. So I'm just going to test it now, see how it works. Homemade rig, and this is the fire hose. Going to give it a little bit of volume. See what happens. So the system is working. It's just very little pressure. We're going to up the pressure. I want to be able to cover about half of the roof with this one, and the other half with this one. And this one also will shoot out beyond the home to the garage too. So I'm going to power this one up a little bit. Feed to the other one. We're going to turn that on gradually. See how it does. Now we have maybe medium pressure on this one. And we have this one about medium pressure. So my goal is to get the water to come all the way to the perimeter of the roof. So I want to use a sprinkler system to send water to that back area. They're getting watered. We've got the sprinkler ones going on top, and the pressure seems fine. Now in a real fire with other people using pressure, I don't know if this will hold true, but these are doing their job. This is the homemade one. This is the store-bought one. We're going to go over in the next video how to make this one. And that water's covering the roof really well. In this test, I can see the roof's doing good. Some of the garage is getting wet, but I think I need to move this one more this way to get more of this garage wet. Good thing to do all this before you really need it, so you kind of know where to put your equipment. But this system actually does work. It saved a lot of people's homes from wildfires. So I just have to change that one's position. I think we'll be okay. You can see the reach of this one where it's wet. This area is not wet, so I have to change this one's position and raise its volume. I'm going to move it further to this side, and same with this one. I think both of them a little more toward the center and a little higher volume. I got a lot more water pressure I can add, so that's good to know. 1,450 square foot home, and one sprinkler head almost does it. So if you have comparable size like ranch style home, 2 of those do it for sure. So here's one of the sprinklers. This is just the handmade one. It's basically just a piece of pipe, has a cap on it, sprinkler head, another piece of pipe, and then a fitting that hooks up to a hose. And this is just a base for it, but there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Here's the store-bought one. I think this is about $100. Same thing, it's just pipes. That's a T-joint, and then a sprinkler head put down on that piece of pipe. It's got a closure here, kind of loose, and then it has a fitting for the hose. And these are just chunks of concrete that have been inside PVC pipe, and they put some fittings to hold it on. But you want to have something that's really stable, because you may have a really heavy winds during a firestorm. This usually goes on the crest of the roof. Pretty cool. So I decided just to make one, and probably instead of $100, you're probably looking at $25. Home Depot run, and you got it made. Only question I may have is that this may melt if there was a fire, so it might be better to have a metal one. Just unhook the hose and you're all set. It is good once you get this set up, as you try it and make sure it's got the coverage to keep the whole roof wet, because even a small area that's dry could catch fire. You can see this pretty primitive construction. You just have this T here for the sprinkler head, a couple sections of pipe, and you have another T, another section of pipe, a couple pieces of pipe here, hose clamps. It does allow you to have, with the hose clamps, you can adjust the angle of this, which is kind of cool. And then this part of the sprinkler head allows you to adjust how far this is going to travel. Pretty easy, and I think it's $25, maybe an hour of your time, and then you have a way to protect your home. There have been a lot of instances where people did, instead of leaving, they were able to stay at their property and use a hose to just keep their roof wet, and it was able to keep their house from burning. No guarantee certainly, but it could help, especially if you had some leeway time and you could get it wet before the fire hits. So if that open field caught, I would get this up here as fast as I can, and it may protect the house. So the main pieces you need to get at Home Depot is a sprinkler head. I'm trying to remember the brand on this. And T-fitting is in the pipe section, a couple sections of pipe. And this is hose fitting. I think this is over in the area where you buy the hoses. Get this piece. And an end cap for the other end. And then there's so many ways you could do the base. You could even use a cinder block, just something heavy, and find a way to attach this pipe to it. Maybe a really big hose clamp. Just need something heavy. I think I'll even change. This is just a part from an old LG washing machine, but I think I'll change it and make it even heavier by maybe adding some concrete. A lot of different ways to do that. The main thing though, again, is you got to get this configuration and find a type of hose that won't get affected by excessive heat. So the store-bought one, they had PVC pipe, poured concrete in to make it heavier, which is smart. And then they put in the, before it dried, they put in these studs, and these screw into these fittings. I'm not sure where you would get these, but it's pretty nice, and that it's very adjustable to almost any kind of a roof. They're really designed to go on the ridge or the highest part of the roof. So it'll work on a flat roof too. The goal is to create just a layer of water to get in between the ignition source, the ember, which are super hot, and the composition shingle or whatever type of roof you have. The ones that tar and gravel and composition shingle, especially wood shake, they're going to be the most vulnerable to these wildfires. And make sure you clean out your gutter. You want to get rid of all the little leaves, because those are all sources of ignition. And hopefully we get through this wildfire season. We can see the smoke. This is 2020, and we've had 317 fires here in California.
Here are the parts needed to build the roof sprinkler. You get the sprinkler head for about $20. Got to get 2 of these brass pipes, be about $9. You got to get this T. These are all 3/4 inch. Got to get this adapter to hook up to a garden hose, and then you got to get this end cap, and then you'll have all the parts you need to make your roof sprinkler. You can use the links shown in the description below to order any of the parts you need to build your roof sprinkler. Thanks so much for watching.